The famous recluse and president of the United States, Joe Biden, took time out of his empty schedule to issue a memo detailing how the government is going to use artificial intelligence. Today, we're going to talk about what he had to say and what's the political scheming and agendas behind the memo. I'm Evan Goldstein. I'm a licensed engineer and a data scientist and youth capitalist, where I talk about machine intelligence, the same machine intelligence that's running our lives more and more. So the Biden White House just dropped a national security memo on artificial intelligence, and it's giving whoever snags the White House next a bit of a headache. They're all about pushing new policies to take on China, ramping up how AI is used for national security. But this could spell trouble for Vice President Kamala Harris as she takes the reins. Civil rights groups are already pointing fingers at the memo for potentially supercharging surveillance by security agencies. And then there's former President Donald Trump, who's promising to wipe out Biden's whole executive order on AI that's going to make things even trickier. The memo is the biggest deal yet from Biden's 2023 executive order on AI, which told government agencies to tackle the new challenges that come with the tech. The focus is on security while keeping it aligned with democratic values. Plus, they're trying to secure the AI chip supply chain and label this whole sector as a top priority for the U.S. intelligence against snooping competitors. But here's the catch. Trump and a bunch of Republicans are super critical of this whole executive order, and it leaves a big question mark hanging over Harris if she decides to stick with Biden's AI game plan. Even though folks expect Harris to keep pushing Biden's AI policies, civil rights advocates are already raising red flags. They worry that if national securities are left to their own devices, the risks of powerful new technology being used unfairly could ramp up. The high-profile launch of the policy is a clear sign that national security and beating China are big deals for the Biden team, even while they're trying to juggle other ideas about regulating AI, like managing the risks that come with it. There's probably no technology that's going to matter more for the United States national security in the future than artificial intelligence. And the memo makes it clear that artificial intelligence is crucial for countering China, bringing in foreign experts, and boosting risk research, and basically keeping the AI supply chain safe from the outside interference. The memo also says to fast-track visas for those who are working with sensitive technology. It encourages Congress to step up and make it easy to get green cards for STEM graduates, which is something that Biden's pushing for and that Trump has already promised to do. And the memo tells security agencies like the Defense Department to form a group to deal with AI procurement issues and get other departments involved in publicly investing in AI tech. One other thing is also going to fund the Commerce Department's AI Safety Institute, which is partnered with leading AI companies like OpenAI and Anthropic. In a sec, we're going to get into the political machinations behind this and what's the value of it. But if you think that this episode is bringing you value, I would appreciate it if you push the like button. Pushing it lets me know I'm making something you want to see and helps other people see it, and it's going to help us grow the channel. So thank you. So the memo mentions human rights 22 times, and it orders federal agencies to keep an eye on their AI use for potential risks. And some people think a lot of this reporting is going to stay under wraps. The reality is it's going to be a challenge for the public to really grasp how AI is being utilized by national security systems and how the risks are being handled. Okay, so why now? This is a weird time to be doing this because we're in the middle of a national presidential election. So usually a president will wait until after the election, and then if the opposing party wins, he, or maybe someday she, will issue a bunch of executive orders designed to booby trap the next administration. So there are a lot of issues out there, typically environmentalism or gun rights or things like that, where there's a broad consensus on where things need to go, but then there's a small group that votes on that issue as no other. So for example, a president might set aside an area of the national land as national forests or to be protected and have no logging going on. Now, the majority of people think, great, more trees. I love forests, you love forests, we all love forests. But then there's going to be a small minority that votes on this issue as no other. So whether the forests are there or not, we'll vote for next. But for loggers, it sure will. That's their livelihood. They need those forests. They need to be able to cut down the tree. So they like to set up little conundrums like this. The next president has to decide, do I strip this area of its protection and get some bad headlines, but keep the loggers on board? Or do I keep it as a forest and make the loggers bad? Now, what's weird is that it's coming right before an election. I think that President Biden and Harris don't get along very well. They never got along. And then she was involved in basically putting him off the ticket and taking over his spot. Doubtless there's some resentment there. So I think this is just a sign that if he issues this before the election, he can avoid the charge that he was just doing it to set up a trap for President Trump, let's say, should Trump be elected. He doesn't care about the next administration. He doesn't like either. and he's going to issue this order. As far as the content of the order, it's nice, but most of these agencies that are mining our data find ways to work around the rules. So, for instance, the British intelligence services and the American intelligence services aren't allowed to surveil their own people, like the NSA isn't allowed to surveil Americans. So what do? The NSA invites the British to come out here and set up a bunch of listening posts in the United States. The United States NSA goes over to Britain, sets up a bunch of listening posts there. They listen to each other's data because those are foreign citizens for each one, and then they share the data. So the NSA gets all the information it needs, regardless of federal guidelines or constitutional law or things like that. So yeah, this is nice, but you have to also remember that both of the candidates incoming are real devotees of larger government, more intrusive government. So it's up to us as citizens to fight back against any sort of incursions or intrusions into our own privacy, because no one's going to do it